I forgot to edit the destination. Okay, there it should be set now. Okay, Austin, go right ahead. I won't touch anything.
The Peterborough Patriots.
Stop doing those diet or workout fads to lose weight. Use the tried and true approach from Rockin' That Ideal Life that helps you find balance while enjoying food in moderation and nourishing your body. Try the Lean 30 program at rockinthatIdealLife.com and let today be your last first day of your weight loss journey.
When buying or selling your home, you need to feel protected. Realtor Mike Burgoyne not only looks out for your interests, but as a St. Louis area police officer will make sure you feel safe and well-informed with every decision. Email Mike at strikewithmike.com and start the process today. That's Mike at strikewithmike.com.
I assume we're live. I assume there was a bit of a hitch in the giddy up there when we got going. So let me refresh the YouTubes here and see if we are
Twitter's good. YouTube's good.
Oh yeah, we're good. We're live. Okay.
Rich on.
Welcome to episode 22 of season 13 of the of Let's Go Blues Radio, the often imitated, never duplicated Winter is Coming. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, rockinthatIdealLife.com and Realtor Mike Burgoyne for once again proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, please don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at letsgoblues.com for the best blues themed t-shirts at a unbelievably fair price. It is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. This is franchise episode number 453 all time, and we are streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Grindr, OnlyFans. What else is there? Is there anything else? Yeah, whatever. Realtor.com.
Yeah.
Homes.com.
Homes.com.
Apartments.com.
Apartments.com.
We're actually streaming live on the SIUE website right now.
We better not be.
Might be a bit of a conflict of interest for Kurt.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be the first time I've portrayed our identity on some other website. The St. Clair County 911 webpage back in 2000. I was threatened with the wrath of St. Clair County because I put our hockey team's website on the replaced the homepage of the 911 webpage for St. Clair County with our hockey team's webpage. It was a complete accident.
Nice.
Not my fault, actually.
It's a long story. Sounds like
back in the days of, very, very advanced information security barriers and controls and
the Norcom 2000, the security at Norcom. I think it was Norcom 2000.
Yep.
Or Powering Technologies, one of the two.
Norcom. I remember it.
I could just browse other websites directories on the shared web server. And I was just looking for GIFs back in the day. Animated GIFs were a thing. I was looking for a really cool under construction logo or something. and I accidentally left one of their directories open when I uploaded a change to our website, and it put it on, and they're both called Index, and it replaced theirs with ours. And I got a phone call the next morning.
Nice.
They were pissed.
You're lucky the SWAT team didn't come kicking down the door.
It's amazing to me that I was able to do that. I mean, I told them, I said, you know what? You're welcome. I could have been a malicious hacker that could have just, I didn't even hack anything. It was just, I just opened a folder. I could have just wiped out all kinds of stuff. Surely it was all backed up, but still.
Could have.
To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all the socials is at LGB Radio. I am Kurt Price. I'm a co-host for the big show tonight. Are Bill Day and Austin Lynch. That's right. Jeff Ponder is on assignment. I heard that he's out with an injury. Actually, he's on the IR, LTIR.
Yes.
Is it gonorrhea of the eye? Is that what it is?
Something like that. He's either out with an injury or he's filming as an extra in the next Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
I think that's actually what it is. Yeah.
Okay. The agenda for tonight includes discussion about, we're going to talk about the Blues lackluster performance in New Jersey Yeah, I guess
this is a Blues show.
Yeah, you can bitch about it. That's what it's for. It's a therapy session. And then there's a trade deadline is tomorrow in the NHL, 2 p.m. Central Time. So rumors are going back and forth on Buchnevich. One source says, that the Blues are open to retaining half of his salary to help him get him moved. Other people are saying, there's nothing. He played tonight, so they have no interest in trading him. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, or maybe late tonight. Who knows?
Maybe during the show.
That'd be pretty cool. Austin, keep an eye out for that stuff.
I will. I have Twitter up and.
But all that and more on tonight's episode, the post-game show of Let's Go Blues Radio. I assume you guys watched the show, watched the game tonight, because
yeah.
Well, yeah. But before we get into the game, the Blues defeated the Minnesota Wild 3-1 last Saturday, and so this was and then Binnington was in net, Toropchenko, Neighbors, and Krug scored, and then they beat Philadelphia 2-1 in a shootout. You're thinking, okay, strung a couple wins together. Maybe they can make a push at Nashville since their winning streak is over. But they won tonight 4-2, and they fucking beat Colorado the other night. So that they're looking good for the playoffs. So the Blues are not. Nashville should actually feel pretty safe right now. And Binnington was in net against Philadelphia as the Blues won in a shootout. And then against the Islanders on Tuesday, the Blues lost 4-2, up 2-0, lost 4-2. Not a good finish to this game. Hope was in net. But one of the cool things about this game was the amazing save that Joel Hofer made in this game for the Blues. And it is our save of the week, Bill Day's save of the week. And when I saw this, I was like, this has got to be it, right? This has got to be the save, because especially so we can bitch and complain about how the ESPN crew just totally botched this call. They glazed over the save, made a huge deal about this puck hitting the post, and didn't even really say much about the save at all. Hofer may have gotten a piece of it, and it goes off the post. May have gotten a piece of it. So you wanna break it down for us, Bill?
Yeah, let's get into it. You got me?
I'll pull it up for you, Bill. There you go.
Right.
Austin's asleep at the wheel.
All right.
Just a little bit.
And I'll get rid of the there you got rid of the overlay too. There we go. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So as Kurt's mentioned, save of the week this week comes from the Islanders game. Was the second period, and the Islanders trying to capitalize on a just disgusting Marco Scandella turnover. Scandella's had a halfway decent year, but cannot make that turnover. Hofer behind the net plays the puck to Scandella, who tries to, instead of go up the boards, go up the middle, turns it over to Simon Holmstrom, who is the son of the guy from that movie, The Mask, from not the Jim Carrey Mask, but the one from the 80s with Cher. Yeah, that guy. So wide open, gaping net. And speaking of 80s movies, Joel Hofer comes back across with a Ralph Macchio Karate Kid kick of a save, lunges across the crease, extends the pad, gets the inside of the inner leg of the pad, gets enough to keep it from going into the net, redirects off the post out the other side. Just so much athleticism in this play. And as Kurt mentioned, nary a, Hofer might have, well, the closest we got was Hofer might have got a piece of that, but fucking hey, this could potentially be save of the year candidate if the Blues come back and win this game and wind up making the playoffs.
Yeah,
but not not a damn thing. Unfortunately, we have had to deal with 2 nights of Bob back-to-back games announced by Bob Wischusen on ESPN, and he's got to be my least favorite national broadcaster at this moment. So, hell of a save by Hofer, though, man. That's to be able to lunge legs straight and not jam your leg into the other goalpost and wreck your knees, just insanely like athletic, and man,
that when I first saw it at full speed, you couldn't really tell what happened there because he gets enough of it to have it go wide. He doesn't get like a huge chunk of it where it's like, oh, it's obvious save. Which is why at the time the broadcast team probably didn't notice he made the save. But on the replay, even, they after a couple replays, they're like, Hofer may have gotten a piece of it, and I'm thinking, you think? That's the whole reason it didn't go in the net. So, just candidate for save of the year. But like you said, Bill, since they didn't win the game and might not make the playoffs, there's no cool story behind that save that would have. Hey, this is the save that turned the season around at the end of the season for the Blues.
Yeah, this team, like it's lacking that emotional. Like, this could have been an emotional jumpstart to a team if that's what was missing. Clearly, this team's just not in it emotionally. If that can't get their blood going and actually get them to put effort every shift and not just go through the motions. Like, getting in here, I saw a lot of the comments that Lawrence Frazier, I think that might be a new listener. He's posting a lot of thoughts that have gone through my head, and it's that if you can't get up and take over a game after seeing a save like that, God, it just what are you doing? Why are you playing?
Yeah, I guess you can question the team's heart at times this season. So,
like right now,
and maybe it's not so much heart. Maybe it's not so much effort. Maybe it's just they're just not good enough. You know what I mean? And I don't. You're out there seeing. I think a lot of people like to throw around the term, the effort term, like the effort wasn't there. And I think, well, maybe in some cases, but I think it's overused and thrown around way too much. I think if you watch the game, they're out there trying hard, or things just aren't working, or they just can't. They can't, finish a play. They can't execute things properly to make a difference. It's not working, and that's just a byproduct of the team just not being good enough. And they are kind of where we thought they would be. I mean, you get frustrated with the team because they were in the playoffs, now they're out. But it's like, this is where Armstrong kind of predicted they would be. And before the season started, we were talking about this is kind of where we thought they would be, right on the bubble, on the edge. Maybe, I thought, I'll be the optimist. I'll be on the bubble and they'll get in, which they could have easily done without, Nashville going on a heater. So without Nashville rolling off 8 straight, they'd be in right now. So, tonight's game was a continuation of the Islanders game in a way. Blues beat the Devils 4-1 back on November 3rd in St. Louis, but they drop this one 4-1 in New Jersey. A good example of the Blues, typical Blues game this season. That's been frustrating for Blues fans. Too many of these, just simply not good enough. Binnington was in net. Buchnevich was in the lineup. Toffoli for New Jersey was not. Toffoli is expected to be traded tomorrow. That's why he was kept out. Buchnevich was in the lineup. So speculation from some was that, then Armstrong really doesn't have any strong desires to actually trade him. So I'm not sure if that's. When was the last time the Blues have sat a player due to possibly being traded the next day? I can't recall the last time that's happened.
Because I don't think it's happened under the Army regime.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too that holding a player out of the lineup, I guess, and this is totally just spitballing speculation, it could tip in a GM's hand. As far as like, oh, he really wants to trade this guy so much so that he's going to sit the guy out of the lineup. And maybe it's a thing by Armstrong to kind of say, well, I don't have to trade Buchnevich. I played him last night. If I don't get the deal I want, I'm not going to trade him. So which is very Armstrong like. If he doesn't get the deal he wants tomorrow, I can totally see him not being traded. If he's even going to trade him. I know there's speculation too about, and we can get into this a little bit later, about Armstrong willing to retain half of his salary in a trade. So early in this game, maybe a minute in, Falk, that misplay passed across to Falk off his skate, leads to a scoring chance. The first minute, all alone. It's like, Jesus Christ.
It sounded bad. Yeah, it sounded bad on the radio. It was just, I was like, well, of course, right? Falk's fighting it. And I'm gonna do kind of what we did with Parayko last season, is that Falk, he might not be healthy. He's just making just mistakes hockey players don't make. NHLers don't make those mistakes, and he's doing a lot. So he made a couple mistakes tonight. He made that one. He had that gaff that on that lofted puck just outside the Blues blue line, and he just went to glove it down and he missed it, and it just goes goofy off his glove and his turnover. They end up scoring on the play. So
it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
It's the first time in weeks we've been on time with that.
You're welcome.
Nice job. So yeah, Devils dominate this game early, get 2 fortunate bounces and get 2 goals. Blues couldn't do anything. First New Jersey goal came on a broken play after Hughes circled the zone on the power play. 13:24 into the game, splits the Blues forwards, draws them together, opening up Hischer for a pass in the slot. The Blues D closes on him and blocks the shot, but the puck squirts, unluckily, I guess, right to Meyer at the side of the net, who lifts a nice backhand over sliding Binnington into the net. So 1-0 New Jersey. I saw this play and I saw the replay and I'm like, okay, who do I blame? And I'm like, yeah, it's bad luck. It's just, you can't cover that. How do you cover that play?
Right. It's bounces. It's Timo Meyer on a heater.
Mm-hmm.
That was his 4th goal in 4 games, and he wasn't done.
No, 4th goal in 3 games plus a period.
Yeah.
The second New Jersey goal came with 3:56 to go in the period. The first period, Thomas loses the defensive zone face-off. New Jersey passes point to point, shot off Letty's leg right to Palat in the far circle. 2 Blues defenders go to him, and he quickly passes back into the slot to Meyer, who one-times a shot into an open net. Jeff Ponder, that is what a one-timer looks like. A real nice play. Actually, after a very lucky bounce of New Jersey. So, quick bang play. Good on New Jersey for finding the man that quickly. Shots were 15-3 New Jersey at this point in the game. 15-3 at this point. And then down 2-0, you're like, what is, does this team, it's frustrating because, you think you want to say this team is better than this, but they've been doing this for quite a while now, getting outshot, getting outplayed badly at times. But interestingly enough, the Blues do get a power play with about 2.5 or 2:50 to go in the first period, something like that. And the power play looked really good. They didn't score on it, looked really good. And then all of a sudden, the Blues came to life. They were playing very well. The end of the first period strong. They played a really good second period and get on the board on a goal by Saad about midway through the second period. Saad keeps the play alive in the offensive zone, far boards, passes to Perunovic, who shakes and bakes to the point, which I loved, to create a shooting lane. He lets a laser go off the post, right to Saad, far side, and he puts it in the empty net. Great puck control by Saad on this to corral it and fire. And honestly, I think this is what we need to see out of Perunovic. He was aggressively creating that shooting lane to the point. I like the ceiling for Perunovic. I'd like to see Scandella move. I'd like to, in the off season or at the deadline tomorrow. I'd like to and give Perunovich more time. Whatever. See, hopefully, maybe a no trade clause gets moved. Maybe Krug or Falk, which is probably not going to happen, but whatever. But getting Perunovich more power play time would be great. And that specific play by him there, I thought was fantastic. Love to see more of that from him.
Yeah, Brendan Saad has been on a mini heater himself, playing like a guy who wouldn't mind a change of scenery, maybe. I mean, he's not been one of the names mentioned. He's got 2 years left after this, 4.5. He's 31 years old. He seems a lot older than that. It seems like he's been around a hell of a lot longer than that. But he could, if he were wanting to go somewhere else, that could be a guy that could be more valuable than some of the lesser guys. Definitely, like Kapanen was on some of the top 50 trade lists a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why he would be there and Saad would not be.
He makes was it 3.8, 3.8, 3.4, whatever it is.
His cap hit, Saad's cap hit's 4.5.
Not Saad, Kapanen.
Kapanen,
yeah. So that's a lot for.
But GMs are finding ways to get around that, right?
Yeah. Well,
look at the 3-way trade where Philly just agreed to eat somebody else's salary.
Sure, that's true, and Phoenix is good for that too.
Right.
Or Arizona. Div by Zero says, sorry, not sure how setting a player tips your hand wrong. If anything, it sends a signal the other way. The guy might be trying to get him off from the Blues. I think it would have been smart to sit him. I was just totally spitballing. I was not like hard on defending this stance. It was just something I was just like riffing. So I agree. Hard on.
Yeah, get your
it was just something that popped into my head and I just spit it out. I'm not like,
spitting out hard on. I like it.
Not standing by it at all. Just something just to talk amongst yourselves. Heavy 44. This cast is soft on the Blues. What? How?
There's been a lot. There's been a lot of talk in the chat about how soft the Blues are and soft players around the league.
No. This cast, I think he means us. We are soft on the Blues. Meaning not hard enough on them. Maybe I'm reading that wrong.
Yeah,
maybe that's how I took it.
No,
that's how I'm reading it too.
Okay, if I'm wrong on that, let me know. But I don't think we're soft on the Blues at all. I think
I think that they have completely underperformed, and I would love to see a reshuffle. Did you catch the second intermission or the first intermission where Emily Kaplan said that other GMs have told her that Doug Armstrong's been calling all year saying, I want to shake up my roster.
Yeah.
And he can't do it because he fucking hamstrung himself.
Right. All the no trade clauses. Yeah. Well, and probably what he wants to do is get somebody to take these NTCs off his hand. It's like, no one wants
Why
to
would
do
you do that?
No, and it's not like there's only 1 or 2 years left on these contracts. They've got 4. What is it? I don't have it up. There's multiple years left on these NTCs on players. I mean, Armstrong's not going to retain salary on a guy who's got 4 years left.
Right.
And a player that other teams might actually want, Parayko, the Blues probably shouldn't get rid of, in my opinion. He's your best defenseman. He's a guy that can still play at an elite level for 3-5 years yet. So,
right. And Parayko.
He doesn't make a lot of money either.
Right. A Parayko move would signal rebuild. Right. The other guys, it's part of a retool. But Parayko right now, even though Dom, I don't know if you saw the Athletic piece, Dom answered a question about Parayko that people have been asking, and just that the whole he seems better than he actually is.
Parayko?
And he said people have been asking him questions as to is his model just unfair to Colton Parayko, and he said it is probably the most difficult thing to adjust the model for our defensemen, and but he ultimately said he's a good number 2 somewhere else, and that's it.
Well, I mean, he's not making number one money. So
no, and I think
to be fair.
So to be fair. Light Sound Geometry is going off on Armstrong and bringing up, and so what is to me what has come into very very sharp relief. We've got plenty of hindsight at this point. Is that Army's decision to try to amass mid-range salary defensemen as opposed to giving the keys to the kingdom to Pietrangelo has blown up in his face. And he's locked himself in with all of these mid contracts, and he's gotten below par play from aging defensemen. And I think he should be held accountable. Do I think that he's going to be fired as he puts the hashtag Fire Armstrong in the chat? No, Tom Stillman has only known him as the GM. He probably doesn't have anybody else in mind that could take over as GM of this team and keep the team competitive. He should be held accountable and told you've got to find a way to get rid of one of these contracts.
Yeah, and I think my stance when people talk about the Fire Armstrong, I'm, my take is that it is extremely frustrating that the way this roster is constructed with these guys you can't move, and the guys that you can't move are some of the major problems on this team. Even though defensively this season, I think the team has been a lot better. This season, its offense has gone in the tank. They're getting 22 shots a game. We're midway through the third period. We got 18 shots for the game total. It's like that's a common theme. So I mean, there's not enough pucks on net. You got your top, who's supposed to be your top sniper, passing up great scoring chances, trying to be a playmaker, and gets no shot at all.
Right, and he's been harped on all fucking season for that, and he hasn't made the change. That
he had a good 2 games after he made that comment after Brewer was fired.
Right, and then he's gone back to sucking.
Yeah,
they were so happy to play on the perimeter all night tonight. Never, they would occasionally try to put the puck to the net. There were a few flurries in the third where they would pass it around the boards and then get it down low and chip it to the front of the net, and they just couldn't get really good presence in front of Dawes.
No,
and just kept putting it into his chest and his pads. And
so while we're talking about Kyrou, I mean, how about that open net miss on the power play, huh?
Oh my god!
I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. Austin could have made that. Could have shot. Well, Austin's got to get it off the ice first, right? So
okay, listen here, buddy.
Ponder could have scored that one. we'll take a notch.
Could Ponder? No, he couldn't.
That was bad. That was. I mean, it's funny because there's a freeze frame of right when he receives the puck, and the net is complete. The 6x4 is completely open. There is nothing in obstructing at any part of the goal at all, from the goaltender or the defense or anything. And I just want to make a meme out of it and say, Kyrou did not score here.
Yeah, no, he's missed several incredible chances over the last few games, and his mental game is shit. Right, seems like it between the ears. He seems absent. Right, he's a very talented player, very skilled player. And when he plays without thinking, he's at his best. But goddamn, there are a few things. There are so many flaws in his game. Right, the empty net goal tonight. What happened? Cycle around the boards.
Yeah, he lost.
He got open at the top of the slot, and every time he does that, the Blues play it to him, and the other team swarms, causes a turnover, and that's exactly what happened here tonight.
Do you see what Krug did on the empty net tonight? He had a goofy neutral zone play trying to block it, and totally it looked weird. And it's the exact same thing happened last game as the Islanders. he zigged and the whoever scored the intender zagged, and it was just like a really weird dive attempt. It was just he's looked bad 2 games in a row.
I think
and that's hard. It's a hard situation, tough for him to be in. I get it, but he looked ridiculous on both goals.
Right. Well, go back to the Leafs game a few weeks ago with the empty netter for the hat trick for McCann. I can't remember. The guy that came from nowhere and got a hat trick against the Blues.
Yes, right.
I thought Krug could have kept that puck out of the net. So I think he's coming up with new and inventive ways to allow empty net goals to go in.
Austin has shared with us that the Pens and Canes are in the process of setting up a trade call. I believe the package includes Jake Gensel in exchange for a conditional pick that can become a first, multiple prospects, pieces, plus Michael Bunting. It's multi-layered. Let's like an onion. Multiple layers of this trade. And that's from Sur Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a given, right? He's being traded. And it makes me it's hilarious to me. I forgot who it was. Some hockey writer, I think, suggested that the Penguins would be. This was a couple weeks ago. The Penguins would surely be in on acquiring Buchnevich, especially with Gensel getting hurt. And I was like, Pittsburgh's going to miss the playoffs. Why would they be buying Buchnevich? And I'm like, they're. I mean, they had games. They were like 10 points out of first place. 10 points out of the playoffs. They had some games in hand. But I'm like, you're 10 points out. You're selling. I mean, the Blues are almost there, and they probably should be selling if they're. Yeah, they're
right.
going to.
We very well should be 8 points out after tonight.
Yeah, Nashville won.
So we are.
Yeah. No, we're 9. We're 7
9?
tonight. I think it was 7 tonight. Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's 9. So whatever.
There's.
I just laughed at that. I was like, why? At the time, I'm like, why? Pittsburgh is not going to make the playoffs. So that was funny, and he's not going there. I don't think Pittsburgh's buying. They're selling.
No, that's silliness.
Myers scored again with 3:20 to go in the second period to regain the 2-goal lead for New Jersey. Lofted dump, totally misplayed by Falk. Stop me if you've heard this one. New Jersey gains possession, enters the blue zone, makes a few nice passes. Myers trailing the play, and they find him breaking the slot. Lets a shot go. That beats Bennington far side. And then New Jersey puts the game away 4-1 with the empty netter. Power play couldn't get the job done tonight and has fallen off. So the power play was like one of the bright spots the Blues had, and it was how they were kind of stringing some wins together and had a wild card spot. Their 5-on-5 goal scoring was pretty bad, but their power play was the difference. Since Bannister took over, their power play has kind of carried this team. And the power play has went in the tank. 2 for less 23 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So and that's coincided with the Blues' struggles recently. So
they need another Zoom call with Brad Richards because they clearly they've lost whatever mojo that got instilled. They are not dynamically moving the puck around. Either other teams have made an adjustment, and the Blues need to figure it out and make another adjustment. But at this point, if we do sell, I want to see a completely different power play the rest of the way. I want to see Perunovich on the top power play, replacing Krug, and then Bolduc replacing Sundqvist on the second power play.
That should have happened anyway. I mean,
right.
I mean, I as much as I like Sundqvist, but his role on this team is not on the power play. It's a fourth line guy.
Right. It's a gimmick to get you through a few games, not a season-long strategy. And
sure, occasionally for a certain matchup, if you think that stick him in front of the goal, I mean, Quenneville put Tony Twist in front of the net on a power play once. I'm all for experimenting once in a while, but he's been on the power play a little too much. And once again, not enough pucks on net. Seems like every game, like I said earlier, midway through the game, through the third period, they're in the teens in shots. Shen, every game now, it's like He's overskating pucks. He's mishandling pucks. He's not making plays. I'm like, he has fallen off a cliff as far as just general hockey, right? General hockeying. He's just, I mean, it's disappointing. And I don't know if it's the weight of the sea, but to fall off that quick with just being able to do stuff to create chances, to carry the mail up the ice, to make a play, he's just not doing it. And it's frustrating as hell that one of your veterans, your guys that, you've got, what Shen's, he's here for another 5 years, 4 years. After this year, 4 years. So
and captain that whole time.
Yeah, probably. Unless we acquire a guy like where Shane Corson gives up the C for Gretzky, right?
Right. So Connor McDavid.
Got to acquire McDavid type.
Austin Matthews. He's not even the captain of his own team.
No.
That's still crazy to even think about.
Maybe he doesn't want to be. Some guys don't care to be that.
Yeah, O'Reilly didn't want it.
Second game in a row, like I said, Crew looked kind of silly in the neutral zone with the goalie pull trying to defend. 24 shots on goal for the Blues, over 3 in the power play. Just not good enough. I mean, I don't know how else to describe the effort by the Blues. Just not good enough, but kind of what we expected from this team, right? I mean, I don't want to say I'm shocked, surprised. Disappointed is the wrong word, because if I project they're going to be a bubble playoff team, that's what they are. I mean, are you disappointed that? I mean, I guess I'm disappointed. We were on the show kind of right about where they were going to be, and disappointed that Armstrong was right. You hope the team's going to overachieve and surprise people. That's always fun, but they are what they thought they were.
Yeah, no, and I think Army being public about that was an attempt to light a fire, and that's just not this team's identity. They don't respond to it, to that kind of thing, and it's I mean, am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm switching gears a little bit here.
Yeah,
we got
St. Louis City and
Liverpool.
Are you
5-1 today? 5-1.
5-1. Do you hear New York? Was there speculation New York was going to try and go by city instead of NYFC?
Oh, fuck no.
No, it wouldn't surprise me, because they are part of the same. They're owned by the same Middle Eastern conglomerate that owns Manchester City, which is known as City in the Premier League.
All right, so Sundqvist resigns in St. Louis. We'll talk about that, along with some other trade deadline stuff, more Buchnevich stuff, some speculation that we have as far as what we'd like to see or what we might see, based on absolutely no insider information whatsoever. You're listening to Kurt, Bill, and Austin on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
We've all tried a diet or workout fad at one time or another, but it always ends the same, right? We either lose the weight and then get back to our routine, but then put the weight right back on, or it just simply never takes hold. It's time to move into a habit-based program that focuses on organization and simplicity. Rockin' That Idea Life's Lean 30 lays it all out for you with the correct food to eat, how to meal prep, and even sprinkles in plenty of healthy recipes. With Lean 30, you'll get the full ID Life arsenal, including energy for that needed kick, a tasty Nourish shake for your needed fiber intake, Slim Plus to help control your cravings and provide a metabolic boost, Lean capsules help bust those sugar cravings, and ID Nutrition gives you the added punch you need that takes the guesswork out of what supplements to take. Join the many who are seeing success and make this your last first day on a new program. Visit rockandthatidealife.com to get started, and remember to email Dustin at rockandthatidealife@gmail.com for an extra 10% off exclusively for Let's Go Blues radio listeners. Start your transformation to the confident, vibrant person you've always wanted to be with rockandthatidealife.com.
St. Louis hockey fans know how it takes a reliable captain and a team of hard workers to achieve major goals. As a police officer and a hockey player, Realtor Mike Burgoyne would wear the C in any situation. As a leader in the home buying or selling process, Mike has surrounded himself with a team of trustworthy inspectors, lenders, and escrow officers that work together more cohesively than Hall & Oates. And as a member of many teams in his life, Mike knows the service our first responders, veterans, nurses, teachers, and yes, even you Let's Go Blues Radio listeners provide the community, so he offers special rates to those individuals. Find the value in Mike's leadership and teamwork today by emailing him at mike@strikewithmike.com or calling 314-753-4060. He'll work closely with you and only show you the homes that match your goals. That email again is mike@strikewithmike.com or call him at 314-753-4060 and succeed with your new teammate today.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
The Blues have re-signed Henrik Sundqvist for 2 years, $3 million. Oscar, sorry.
Wait,
I was thinking.
We got Henrik Lundqvist.
Did I say
coming back
Lundqvist?
for 3 years?
Henrik Sundqvist, man. Oscar Sundqvist. I was like, what did I say? Henrik?
You did.
Jesus.
You did.
Golly. Okay.
Oscar Tavares.
Too many names floating around. These trade rumors. 2 years, $3 million, 1.5 per. Sundqvist said, did it again. Sundqvist said that was always his plan, was to be here. He wants to be a part of the team, and turning the ship around is what he wanted to do, or help turn the ship around. For him personally, he didn't want to abandon it. There's no trade clause in this deal. How about that?
Woo!
So he wanted to be here. He loves St. Louis. I can get behind players who have that attitude every time. I think he's got 6 goals, 15 assists, 21 points in 62 games. He's a -5, 30 penalty minutes. He is a positive point shares player. 0.3 offensive, 1.0 defensive, and 1.3 total. So I'm fine with bringing him back on the fourth line. It'd be great though. I mean, obviously him being on the team is not really going to solve any of the team's issues. I just think he's a veteran to put on the fourth line. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Occasionally get him a little net front power play time. Not always.
I would say never, but we shouldn't have to. Maybe as a reward in like a 5-1 game, right late in the game, he can win the power play. That's cool. So if you put him on the power play, it's like you're trying to solve a problem on the power play by putting him on it.
So listener Leon, since Jeff's not here to say that, listener Leon in the chat says, I'd love to see the love child of Henrik Lundqvist and Oscar Sundqvist. And I have the answer. It is Simon Holmstrom. Look him up.
Henrik Lundqvist, Oscar Sundqvist. You talk about names that are hard to say back to back. Good Lord. That is not easy to say. And then to get the right first name with the right last name and not fuck it up. So yeah, I think I don't think apparently some people in the chat not cool with that trade. They don't like him, but I'm fine with that. It's
if used appropriately, whether as a fourth line center or guest DJ, it's Urban Chestnut. He's good.
I thought for sure he was going to score tonight, just to in a good mood, with the contract, little pep in his step, maybe.
Like Steen when he got his contract extension and put up a hat trick against the Canadiens. That was I was 2 rows off the ice for that game. That was a beautiful game.
Trade deadline is tomorrow. If you're listening to the podcast on Friday, deadline is today. Probably either expired or about 2 because we released the show about noon.
We have a trade to announce.
The full trade for Jake Gensel has been put out.
Okay, you want to read it? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Pittsburgh trades Gensel and retained 25%, and Ty Smith to Carolina in exchange for Michael Bunting, Villy. I'm not even going to try. You know what? I'm sending you this. I'm not reading this.
Just spell it.
Hey, Philly
Or just
not going
put
to
it-
work here no more.
Put it in the
I'm
chat. I'll read it.
trying.
Is it a prospect or was it?
First round pick in 24 conditional and 5th round pick in 24
Okay.
conditional.
It's not Blues rated anyway, so it's not.
Well, it's a trade.
Yeah,
It's a big one, and they say it could pave the way if Buchnevich is going to go. Gensel is going to go first. Okay, Pittsburgh trades Gensel 25% retained, and Ty Smith. Ty Smith is how you pronounce it. Awesome.
No, not that guy.
To
You see what
Carolina-
I'm talking about?
Billy
exchange-
Koivunen and
Koivunen.
Vasily Ponomarev.
There you go.
Those
and
guys.
Cruz Lucius, Carolina's first round pick in 2024 conditional, and Carolina's 5th round pick in 24 also conditional.
That sounds like a terrible cover band name. Cruz Lucius.
That's a lot. There's a lot of names in that trade. A lot of big names too.
Right.
So the guy who said that the Penguins would be interested in Buchnevich is wrong.
And I have to give you props for that. Using the Gary Bettman, we have a trade to announce.
That was good.
That was
I
absolutely
wouldn't-
beautiful.
I
just need to
Ponder
know.
used it last year.
Yeah,
and I went and found the video before the show.
I have to ask though, when you were reading that, you were doing the Bettman shuffle, like the little squirm kind of thing that he does. So that
I don't know.
was
what you're
that was
talking
that
about.
was that intentional or
I don't know
or,
what you're talking about.
So
the answer is no. It was not.
Lights on Geometry says, I don't see it with Sonny. He was great on the cup run, and that's about it. He was great on the cup run. And he is only 29. He's not having a great year this year.
he's
a
only
lot of players
29 going on 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does take a beating out there. But it's 1.5 million. It's actually quite a bit. It's like double his salary, wouldn't it? Didn't he make like what's his so he made, let me scroll up here. Yeah, 775 this year. So he doubled his salary for next season, which is only 775 more. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over a $1.5 million player. But I would hope he would play a little better next year after, when the team hopefully is a little better. So I don't know. We'll see. No, he has not had a good year this year. No, a lot of players haven't. Let's see. Justin Scott says someone told me they wanted to trade Buchnevich for Crapo Kako.
Yeah, former second overall pick. The only possible angle I could see with that is Kako was in town during the Blues Cup run. They when they brought all the top draft picks, he walked right past me. Who went number 1 overall that year?
Which year was it?
19.
Oh.
The year we won the cup.
Right.
But they
look it up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look it up.
They all walked right past me. And we were loitering around the TV sets outside before the game, and
Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes. Yeah,
okay.
So he looked huge compared to Jack Hughes. Not hard to do, I guess, but
Right.
but yeah. So maybe him, remembering the atmosphere, right? If that were the trade, remembering the atmosphere here in St. Louis around the, how excited we all were, that could get him to figure out his game. Probably not, but that's where I'll go with it.
It's funny looking at Chicago and Buffalo passed on Trevor Zegras that year.
man.
Like just a bunch of low teams.
Yeah, they could have had a few Michigan goals.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Um,
A big name.
and All-Star game appearance. So Buchnevich rumors. So he has not been asked to waive his no trade clause, which is not surprising because Armstrong has said before he doesn't ask a player to waive his no trade clause until a deal is already in place. So there's that. And the rumor was spread today that the Blues would be willing to retain half of his salary, Buchnevich's salary, to get a good deal done. And the reasoning behind this, after a couple moves were made, after taking Buchnevich to 4 different teams, retaining half his salary would make him more desirable to more teams and bring hopefully a bigger return, especially for teams who are cash strapped but could provide assets. So who knows if that rumor is true? Armstrong has never been one to retain salary on a trade, though. So I don't know. We'll see. Gensel is never mind. You just that's out of place there. So Gensel's off the board, and they said that was likely bottlenecking things for Buchnevich, which I don't know why could have been the other way around, but whatever. So the speculation is once Gensel is moved, then Buchnevich would be more desirable to teams who obviously missed out on Gensel.
So who's going to be in the market now? I mean, somebody. I mean, Colorado's made multiple moves. Vegas has made a big move.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Oilers didn't make a huge move, but Nashville made a move. I
don't think Nashville.
Carolina was kind of the destination I thought Buchnevich would wind up in. Not going to happen now with Gensel.
Yeah. It's interesting because if Armstrong is going to retain half of his salary, it makes him a lot. It allows him to go more places. If they can fit him under the cap. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Right.
But
the Rangers got Weinberg. So
yeah, and Florida got
Tarasenko.
Which they kind of glazed over. They were talking about. I think it was on ESPN before one of their games tonight. I was had ESPN on, and one guy said, "Yeah, I was so surprised that Florida hasn't done more." And I'm like, they brought in Tarasenko. I mean, it was just for a third and a fourth, but which wasn't very much. Granted, Tarasenko's, not having a great year.
At this point, you're kind of just bringing him in for the name. I think.
It's he's I guess they plug him in on the second line. Probably that's what they said. So, second line guy, probably a rental. He's got his 1 year, right?
Yeah, it was a 1 year deal.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So Ottawa wasn't going to hold out for a first. They knew they just needed something in return.
If Florida wins the cup, that fourth turns into a third, so they'd have 2/3. Mm-hmm. I guess a third this year and a third next year.
Yeah, and it's to me the Tarasenko move to Florida it's a good move for insurance purposes. If Reinhart gets injured, and stops scoring for them, you've got a proven NHL scorer.
Tarasenko did say that Florida was the only team he would wanted to be traded to. So, which I'm sure made it really hard for Ottawa to get a good return for Tarasenko.
Right.
There's Vladdy making more friends
shocking,
as he leaves another city, right?
Right. But shocking, a Russian at the tail end of their career, only wanting to play in Miami. Yeah. Hello, Pavel Bure. Hello, Sergei Fedorov.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple other Blues players, Parayko's name is always tossed around, usually by Toronto fans and media, as far as, Toronto can acquire Parayko. They never, ever, ever mention that he has a no-trade clause, and they never, ever mention that he has said before that he is perfectly happy here and has no desire to waive any no-trade clause. He said it a couple of years ago.
I wish he would.
Now, of course, that could change, but I don't understand why the Blues would ever want to trade him unless they get absolutely blown away with an offer, like any player, if you're gonna get a haul for somebody, then you got to consider it. But I mean, Parayko with the way he's playing, and especially compared to last year, assuming he was hurt last year, healthy this year, he's making 6.5. That's not a lot for a good defenseman. So, that's and he's got 3 to 5, I think, quality years left. So I don't know. There's no rush for the Blues to trade him, I don't think. So maybe they could trade him in, 3 or 4 years, maybe, to fill a need or whatever, if it's different at the time. Scandella, I think Scandella should be traded tomorrow. Absolutely. Whether or not this team was in the playoffs or not, I think Scandella should have been traded for, he'll be a rental somewhere, a nice depth defenseman, and the Blues could get a 4th round pick for him, because I don't think they would sign him in the offseason. I would hope not. So, Kyrie rumors. What was it, a couple weeks ago? Somebody said Kyrie was being shopped, but then it was mentioned today that has been little to no talk of moving Kyrie, even though there would be interest. So, I'm all for chaos. I've said that before in the show. Trading him would be a boat rocker, but he's not even 1 full year into his 8-year contract. So, and I'm a huge critic of his this season. He's been terrible. I think Kyrie has been awful with the puck. Handling the puck, he has been god awful. Shot selection, terrible. But I mean, I'm not gonna give him up for nothing. So
Yeah,
I'm willing to be patient with him. I'm not. I mean, the team. It's not like the team is on a cup run this season, and he's just like he's a boat anchor. He's
right.
It's
so they're the people that feel that there's urgency because his no trade clause kicks in after the in 2025.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna move him with impunity, you have to do it before then. I mean, I'm right there with everybody that's frustrated with the guy. I mean, so much talent, just can't put the mental game together. There's just it astounds me how bad he is at puck handling. Right. Like
when last year he was
the guy what pine tar is. Right, like
receiving a pass.
Right,
he fucked up a pass tonight, and it cost
at least
Blues.
one, probably 3.
It just couldn't handle the pass,
and tried to stick handle and got beat for the empty nickel at the end of the game.
After he missed that open net on the power play, he actually skated hard. I think his next shift, he was I mean, obviously wanted to try and make up for it, and you actually saw him bust his ass in the defensive zone, and I'm like, where is this hustle? Where is this? I need to look up the stats for from the chip on the jersey. I think it's available. Edge, I think it's available. It's for people to look at. The burst skating and the fastest skater and stuff is like he's nowhere to be found. He doesn't hustle out there. He's one of the fastest skaters in the NHL, and he's not on the list of guys that skate fast in games. It's like, why he's got all the speed, why not use it? Let's see what else we got. Tarasenko to Florida, which you talked about. Edmondson. What's that?
What? Nothing.
Oh, Edmondson to the Leafs. Capitals are retaining 50% of Joel Edmondson's salary in the deal. The Maple Leafs traded a 2024 third-round pick and a 2025 fifth-rounder in the deal. The third-rounder previously belonged to the Islanders, while the fifth-rounder was initially the Chicago Blackhawks. And
Joel Edmondson is, quickly becoming a puck doku god.
Journeyman, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So many teams. So if puck doku is still a thing in like 15 years, remember Joel Edmondson. He probably played there.
Heavy 44 says Binnington is the best. I wasn't really paying attention to the previous conversations. It's not like sarcasm, is it?
It shouldn't be, and
No, right.
I agree. I
You know,
agree.
Bennington's been fantastic, and you know what? He was better last year than his stats showed, and he's better this year than last year. So you know, good on him, and he's calmed down this year. He's had fewer incidences on the ice, so you know, that could be playing into his maybe overall calm demeanor. Is probably his most consistent season. What do you say? From start to finish, he's been pretty good the whole season. He hasn't really had too many crazy highs or crazy lows. He's been
right.
you know,
He's
mostly,
he's had a couple of dips where
but not
it's like,
nothing major.
Go back to the Nashville game. That was a
Yeah,
bad game, but
individual games
it was a blip on the
withstanding.
radar.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
It wasn't a prolonged funk.
Right. It wasn't a Jake Allen month of January and half of February
Right.
funk. And apparently Phil Kessel is on track to sign with the Canucks before the deadline. He needs to be on the reserve list by 2 p.m. Central to qualify for the playoffs this season. But word is he will sign in Vancouver. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it'll be fun tomorrow. Are you so? Conversation kind of happened today on Twitter or X. Are you pro playoffs or pro draft pick? With like, okay, so where the Blues are right now, for example, if they got in, they'd, you know, and they say they lost in the first round, they'd have what, the 17th pick, something like that. So they have playoffs and a 17th pick, or would you like to have like the 16th pick or the 15th pick and then miss the playoffs? Because I was like, you know what? Give me playoffs and the 17th pick over no playoffs and the 15th, 16th pick.
Right. So the last time I can remember the Blues having the picks between like 13 and 16, we drafted David Rundblad, Jaden Schwartz, and Vladimir Tarasenko. And we were able to draft Vladimir Tarasenko because we traded David Rundblad for that pick.
Right.
So, and then the other draft picks beyond that, like since then, right, the most notable are Jake Neighbors, which super solid pick. You know, if you know, probably, you know, a lot of talk this year about how he's future captain of this team. You know, so much leadership off the ice. And then you know, Jimmy Snuggerud. So,
Snuggie.
Yeah. And if you're Jimmy Snuggerud, you at this point are just like, yeah, no, we're gonna Gophers are going to the Frozen Four. not
From hell or high water.
Louis. Yeah. I might go for my masters and stay there another couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my point is that, you know, it's going to be a middle round pick probably. And it's like
I'd rather have a middle round pick than a pick in the 20s.
Oh, sure.
Is where I was going with it.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Take pick 32.
But it's like
30.
You know, but it's like, I think, you know, obviously just missing the playoffs is kind of ouch, you know, because you lose out on a better draft, a higher draft pick, and you miss the playoffs. But I mean, right now, it's like, I think, you know, some people are, you know, I wouldn't say rooting for the Blues to make to miss the playoffs, but, you know, they'd be like, no, they didn't miss the playoffs, get a better draft pick. I'm like, okay, if they miss, and well, they could tank the rest of the way and actually slide and get a top 10 pick, whatever. But if they just miss, it's like, I mean, it's a difference of a few picks in the middle of the draft. And is that gonna? I mean, and you don't know what you're getting at the time either. It's not like it's a really deep draft either, I don't think. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I give me in a general year when it's the unknown as far as you're drafting. Give me playoffs and give me a couple picks lower in the draft because I don't know, man. I mean, I like playoffs.
No.
I don't care. I don't care if they're not a
I
cup
like
contender.
spending my money on
I don't-
expensive losses.
I don't care if they're not a cup contender. Playoffs are amazing. Even if you're underdog, it's amazing. I don't care.
There's going to a playoff game, there's just a different feel about it. Just even if you're not going to the game, that anticipation, just because it's a blank slate, you can do whatever, right? It feels great.
Yeah, the day of, like a big playoff game, like the day of, it's all you think about. You're like, oh, and there's like a buzz in the air. It's like with social media buzzing, and you're the
Right.
radio talk. It's just fun.
Right. Even when we got swept by the Canucks in 2009, right? Every game there was that anticipation and that buildup.
Yep. I think up next for the Blues. So we got Saturday against the Rangers in New York, Monday in Boston, and then Wednesday versus LA. That is a rough 3 games.
Is the Rangers game at 9 a.m.? Because that seems about on pace for Blues Saturday games.
Right. Jeff will be at the game against the Kings on Wednesday. So assuming he as soon as he can see the ice.
The game will be at 10 a.m. because it'll be at 11 New York.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, not beating New Jersey, not beating the Islanders. Those are 2 teams, the similar positions of the Blues, trying to get in the playoffs, outside looking in. And these are tougher games against the Rangers and the Bruins and the Kings. So, the Blues could very well slip, some spots if they don't, especially if they trade Buchnevich, sell off a couple pieces, which they may very well do. I don't, I shouldn't say I don't think they will, because I don't know, but
I don't think they can. Right. The pieces that need to go won't go.
Yeah. Well, the pieces that need to go are like a Krug or a Falk. That's what. Can you imagine if Krug is dealt tomorrow? Like, he waives his no trade and he's dealt. Blues fans would forget about the disappointing season.
I just have another player hanging in my closet.
They'd be like, "Hey, all right, we got rid of no trade clause, and we get some flexibility with the salary cap, and we can maybe do something. Maybe, you know what? And also too, it was like trading Buchnevich, with offense being an issue this season. You'd have to replace him with somebody. So, Bill, was there another trade?
Yeah, in the chat, Heavy E says trade.
Probably just trade the team.
Oh
yeah,
no.
But there was something about Columbus, Tampa. Oh, that was the sweep. I'm not paying close enough attention.
That's okay.
Although it's hard to pay attention with as much chatter is going on tonight. So much emotion in our chat tonight. Love to see.
Yeah,
the
it's fantastic. Yeah, it's fun to interact with the folks. And Casey Gorak, what are you gonna put there? Oh, okay. Divisor, I got a question for the panel. Would there be any interest in Saad as a playoff ad? That's by Div by Zero. I think the only problem with Saad is that he's got 3 years left. 2 more years left.
2 more after this.
Yeah, after this year. So
at 4.5.
Yeah,
now, I think that if Buchnevich is either re-signed or traded, he could be one of the next best available players after that. But nobody has talked about him at all. But like I said earlier in the show, he has put on a little mini heater here, playing like a guy that is like, hey, look at me.
Yeah. Right.
So I wouldn't rule it out. I'd hate to see him go because he's kind of the only guy that's consistently shown up game in, game out this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he can bring an asset, do it.
He's a really good depth scorer. What's he making for something?
4.5.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I like him at that. I like that at that money. It's not flashy. He just kind of gets the job done. Justin Scott, you have no one to replace Buchnevich's production, and that's kind of what I was getting at. That if you do trade him, and with a team that's struggling offensively, you're that much worse offensively. So then you gotta spend some time looking to replace Buchnevich. And if you replace his production, you might. I mean, unless you get a younger kid who hasn't reaped the benefits of a higher contract yet, you're gonna be paying more for it because Buchnevich is cost controlled. He's a bargain for next year. So it's like, I don't know. If he's traded, I'm intrigued because the return should be really big. I'd be very curious to see what we get. If we keep him, I'm happy too. It's like I'd like to see the Blues try and sign him in the offseason. If they could, move some stuff around and sign him, if they could afford him, if he wants to come back here and they could afford what he wants, I'd welcome him back in a second because you got to. I don't think he's a guy that that's one less piece you'd have to, acquire to help fix the offense anyway. Let's see. Justin Scott says Saad gets a lot of hate, and he shouldn't. To be honest, he's done what we pay him for. Yeah, I think it's because Saad just isn't flashy. He's
the professional's professional, right? Yeah. Consistent, shows up, and he's not leadership guy. He's a quiet guy, but he leads by example. Mm-hmm. And I think he would be a great add to any playoff team.
Let's see. Div by Zero says, I would like to see a few years of missing the playoffs. We direly need top end talent to rebuild with, especially on D. Ask Buffalo how that's working out.
Right. Buffalo, who made a move for another defenseman. What the hell? They have their top 4D are all left shot defensemen. They've got to be looking at making another move at some point. I mean, giving up a bona fide 2C for a guy who's had a shit year. I thought it was a terrible trade for Buffalo.
Yeah, there are teams that miss the playoffs a lot for a number of years in a row, and they get high draft picks. Edmonton, for the longest time, couldn't do jack squat with their picks, and they finally hit a winner with McDavid. So,
ask
generational
Buffalo,
talent, right?
Right. Ask Buffalo about that.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Was it who was the GM then? That like when it was announced that the Oilers got the number 1 pick, like that. From then on, like the look on his face meant that Jack Eichel was not going to do anything in Buffalo, and that's exactly what happened.
I understand the desire to want to get a number of high draft picks. I mean, if you look back to, it was 2005 when we drafted Johnson.
It was
06.
06, yeah.
06. We had
another Buffalo Sabre, by the way.
Yeah, right. We had the number 1 pick, and it was Eric Johnson.
Yeah.
So
number 2 was Jonathan, win 3 Stanley Cups.
Taves
in Chicago. Taves, and yeah, Backstrom was in there.
And what's his name for the Pittsburgh?
Stahl.
Stahl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Stahl was there. Yeah. Any of those guys would have been better. But whatever. But I totally get it. I get wanting to the idea of trying to build that way, but I don't. There's no one way to do it. So I don't think that's the only way you can get top end talent. A lot of teams don't do that.
No.
And you can retool and come back at it. And then the Blues, were playoff teams for, and actually the Blues had they had a really, really good run, really good teams. They just couldn't get over the hump of the playoffs. And
25 straight years.
Yeah, and and some of those years they weren't very good, but they made the playoffs just because the division
The
or
league
whatever.
sucked and was
Right.
only 22 teams,
Right.
21, 22
Yeah.
teams.
They'd be under 500. They make the playoffs. Some years. But with that said, like the Quinville years and the Hitchcock years, and since then it's like we've had a long run up until last couple of years of really good hockey. So it's like. And we haven't had a lot of high draft picks in there. And you could say, well, we only won the one cup. Yeah, but there were a few teams in there that really could have, maybe should have won a cup. Early 2000s was one. So it's
yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, when we got bounced by San Jose,
Yeah.
and then when the flu bug took us out, thank you,
Oh.
Mellenby's kid in
Right.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. And maybe that's what will happen. They might miss for a few years. And but and the draft pick will be whatever it is where we finish. But I don't know. I'd hate to go down that path and then you can get stuck in a rut too, like Buffalo, where you suck and you miss for 3 years and your draft picks don't work out and you miss for 3 more and maybe one hits, but then anyone's traded. And it's like, and then you're missing 6-7 years, and you're like, all of a sudden you suck, and you're I don't know, that can happen too, but that's just me being pessimistic. I like playoffs.
Yeah.
Ken Morris says, I have mixed feelings about Scandella. He usually wins battles on the boards for the puck. He seems like a physically quite strong. Scandella's had a decent year. And that's why I think he'd be a good rental for somebody.
No, I think so, but I also think that Vegas could probably trade Alec Martinez to anybody that's in the market for a Marco Scandella. Now that they got Noah Hannafin, and they're going to need to clear some cap space at some point. But no, I Scandella was horse shit for 2 years. 3 years, but this year he's been very solid.
Yeah, he was bad after. He was good when we acquired him. After replaced Ballmeister, yeah,
right.
But
yeah.
And then after we signed him into that stupid contract,
right,
that was just dumb.
Armstrong, like that's the one thing. Like we talked about needing Armstrong to be held accountable. I think Stillman should make it a rule. You cannot extend a player mid-season. I will not allow you to do that because look at the bad things he's done over his career, right?
Laterra, yes,
that's the worst of the worst.
That was bad.
But yeah, Scandella and I don't know. I'm still I guess I'm happy that Sonny's back, but it just like it also is like, are the Fodes that dead that Armstrong's got time to work that out?
right. Yeah, and like I said, if Suncoast would have went elsewhere, it's like, okay, but it's it's fourth line. I'm like fine with him there. So
it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
I told you last night. No.
All right. I think that about wraps up the show, unless you guys got anything else you want to chat about as far as tomorrow goes, trade deadline. So who do you want to see go? Anybody specifically?
I mean, if it becomes a full on, we're able to get rid of players. I'd like to see both Scandella and Hayes gone. I think those are like the two trades that seem likely could happen, but with everybody else that's moved, I don't know. I think Hayes is here for another year at least.
Yeah. He's got 3 years left, making about 3.5 each season. So it's like I think Hayes has been, even though he's chipped in with a few goals and a few points, I think he's been terrible. I've not liked Hayes. I've not liked Hayes.
He's slow. Can only be effective when he gets position because of his strength.
On the boards, pretty good on the boards, but in the open ice,
what's his face-off percentage? It doesn't seem great. Right? It feels like we were dominant when we were playing very well. It feels like our face-offs
56.8
were good. So shit,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's a plus for him.
Thomas is the one that's fallen off.
He's 51.6 now.
He was in the 40s at some point, so I guess he's gotten a little better.
But I just don't like Hayes in the open ice. I think he's terrible. I think he's terrible with the puck on the boards, grinding out. Yeah, put him in front of the net. Okay, yeah, but yeah,
he scored a breakaway goal this week, Kurt.
It was and he didn't even shoot it. He came in, he made a move and it slid off his stick and it went and it scored.
And did you hear Jamie Rivers try to say it was the Kucherov faked the shot?
Oh God,
let it slide through. No, he whiffed.
I was watching that in a bar. I was watching it in a bar, so I didn't hear it.
Yeah. He collides with the Philly defenseman, who I think was Sean Walker, who got traded to the Colorado Avalanche. And Walker's just like, he can't do anything. So he peels away from him. And then, hey, Kapanen woke up for a second and found a good pass and made it. So there was that.
I really quickly want to get your guys' opinion on something with the way that the Vegas Golden Knights are using Mark Stone and LTIR.
Circumventing the cap, you mean?
Yeah. How do you fix this? Is there a way for them to is there a way for the NHL to come in and say
you say your playoff salary cap is the same as in the regular season? Mm-hmm. Done. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will ever happen, but that if you want to fix it, that's how you do it. Maybe give them some flexibility to do something with black aces and calling up people and putting them in the box because you want to have extra players there for injury purposes or whatever. But if you're dressing them, then that's your salary cap. So I don't, or have a dressed salary cap in the playoffs. I don't know, where you don't count the black aces. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems bizarre to me. Like, in what other business do you turn off the rules at a certain date?
Well, there's no salary cap in baseball. There's like a luxury tax and stuff like that. But you can bring up extra. They expand the rosters in playoffs.
I do know in the NBA they just made a rule to where if you do not play a minimum of 60 games, you're not playing in the playoffs. Doesn't matter if it's due to an injury. Doesn't matter if it's due to whatever. If you do not play 60 games that season, you're not playing in the playoffs.
That seems
out of an 82-game season.
That seems rather harsh. I think they could just do something with the salary cap in the playoffs to I mean, some guys legit get hurt, but the issue is that a guy gets hurt, gets put on LTIR, and they can replace his salary with equal salary. But when he comes back, then you gotta free up salary to bring him back. And in the playoffs, there is no salary cap. So what guys will do is they'll go on LTIR. Well, you know how it goes. LTIR, and then they acquire somebody with that cap space, and then playoffs happen. Oh, guy can play again. Bring him off LTIR, and you're 6 million, 7 million, whatever over the cap for playoffs.
Right. It's everybody's talking about Vegas doing that this year, but it was Tampa Bay that started this, right? It was
2 years in a row.
Julien Brisebois, right, with Kucherov.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems like it happens every year with a top team too. It's so that it's
crazy how that works.
And they always say, wow, they'd rather have Mark Stone in the lineup right now because they might miss the playoffs. That'd be so fun if they miss the playoffs because they're down. They're not exactly. I mean, the Blues have to get hot, right, to knock them out, and they have to fall off a little bit. But which is probably not going to happen. But yeah, it's always that this top team is doing it. It's like just so happens that I don't know. I'm not trying to say that it's shenanigans going on, but I'm not saying there's not either. I'm not saying there's not either. You know.
No, it is.
You think so?
I'll say it. I'm on this show twice a year. I'll say it.
I mean, if you're hurt, you're hurt, though, right? You can't just say you're hurt. You have to have it actually medically diagnosed as an injury.
Right. We do have
Ponder has diagnosed eye gonorrhea tonight.
Right. We do have a note from his optometrist.
Right. Yeah.
He's excused for tonight.
He's got drops he's got to take.
Mm-hmm.
And an eye patch he's got to wear. And now he can go work for Brown & Brown because they have an opening since there's no longer a guy with an eye patch there.
Oh, that is so terrible.
I'm sorry, that's bad.
Brown and Ponder.
That's funny though.
It can't even be Brown and Ponder. Like, it has to be Brown and Jeff, right?
So I wonder if they will ever be our a sponsor for us now.
What are you laughing at?
No.
You can't just like die laughing on the air and then say you're not laughing at anything. What is it? Oh
no!
Look at that,
Mr. I gonorrhea himself.
Are you allowed to be on here? I mean, are you allowed to
close your eyes right now, Ponder?
Don't call my optometrist. All right.
Don't broadcast this on the internet.
Is it both eyes or is it just the one?
It's both. But the one is really effing bad.
It's weird. We just lost 100 Twitter viewers.
What are you doing?
How that works.
Oh my Lord! Look at the amount of people watching. What is going on here?
I saw that. I think it's a counter.
You're not on the show. That's what happened, Ponder.
That's probably what it is. I agree with you. Man, crazy. Yeah. No, I decided to jump on. I don't know where you guys are at. I have not been listening because I can't.
We were
very
wrapping up.
Getting ready to
All
shut
right.
it down.
Well, I'm glad I'm here for it.
Prediction for tomorrow. Any Blues players being traded? Yes. Who are they, Jeff?
Okay. I would love if Kasperi Kapanen could pack his bags right now and get the fuck out.
You think someone's taking the salary? I don't think so.
I mean, he's a free agent at the end of the year. I could see somebody just saying, "Yeah, we could use a fourth line guy."
And he made one good pass this week.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go. I think Scandella gets moved because he's had a good season.
I think he should. I think teams. I'm not going to say he's going to get moved. I'd be great if he could get moved, but I think teams should be interested in him. That's where I'm coming from.
I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
I could see him getting moved and to a contender. Maybe he doesn't even make the top 6 on a contender, possibly, but he's an excellent number 7. That could step in if there's an injury. So I could see a team like, I don't know, Colorado, which I don't know if the Blues would trade with them, but draft picks, why not? You might as well.
And he won't be on the team next year unless we sign him. So
yeah.
Florida comes to mind there too.
Florida, yeah, that'd be a good one, and they're obviously buyers.
Yeah, he could fill in for Mikla if Mikla went down.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've heard there is chatter around Kevin Hayes, because since he's basically at half his salary, since Philadelphia still eats half. But
half his. So Philadelphia's eating half his salary, and then Armstrong eats half of this. So we can have him for like a 1.75, whatever it is.
I don't know if Armstrong will retain any salary anywhere, but I could see him possibly doing it with Hayes if he could get draft picks.
That's 3 years,
a mid-level prospect.
Yeah, that's 3 years though.
That's a lot of money. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have 1 year left, I could. He doesn't retain salary. I say that I could say,
no.
I could see him doing it with 1 year, but I'm like, he doesn't do that. So.
He doesn't buy out players. He doesn't retain salary.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, but the rumor with Buchnevich, you heard that, right? Where he'd be willing to eat half of his salary for next year to move him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's only 1 year, but man, if you retain salary on Buchnevich, you better get a hell of a return.
Well, the return should be good anyway, and then if you retain salary, holy hell!
Yeah,
I mean, you get that's a haul.
Yeah, I agree.
Should be. You better not retain salary and get like, a second round pick and
I don't even retain salary if it's like 2 firsts, because I personally think if you're going to trade Buchnevich, and I think we might have said this last week, I don't want draft picks. I want a guy who could possibly step in next year. I think I said this to you guys privately, but like, I want a trade like what Philadelphia and Florida did. Was that 2 years ago, where Philadelphia traded Giroux to the Panthers, and the big player they got back was Owen Tippett. And Tippett was ready to make the jump at that point. And look at him now, 2 years later, and he's a fucking stud. So that's the type of return I would want on a Buchnevich.
Yeah, but we kind of talked about, there was a proposal, Buchnevich for Kako, right? That 1-for-1 doesn't work. He's a guy that's already been in the NHL 4 seasons, but just hasn't flourished. Would you do that? Would you do that plus a Rangers first?
Yeah, probably. I take the risk because the Blues do have a nice prospect pool coming up, but I don't know. That's a tough one though, because
they were featured on the Hockey News. You see that?
Yeah, they were.
Yep.
They got a great prospect.
Dvorsky, Neighbors, a couple others,
and Snuggerud.
Snuggerud
on the cover. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. That's a good call, Bill. I think I'd be willing to try it just for a change of scenery type thing, but I feel like you got to sweeten the deal a little bit more. Maybe throw in Jeff Finley in a third. I don't know. Matt D'Agostini, right?
All right. I think we're wrapping the show up, and just as you get settled in here, how you feeling though? How's your face?
Because it's killing me, right?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It was just so real quick. What happened was I got allergies. I got allergies in the eyes, which is awful. It's only happened like once other time in my life.
It's
and then
gonorrhea.
I guess
it's gonorrhea.
I guess that and pink eye too, of course. No, so and then I guess let's see, it was Tuesday night into Wednesday morning about 3 a.m. I woke up and my hand was like right here on the side of my head, and this eye was just throbbing in pain. And I open it up, like I go in and I do the whole look at it. I can see visual scratch marks, and I'm like, Jesus, I must have been scratching my eye while I was sleeping.
Holy shit!
And I went to the eye doctor today, and she was like, "Did you scratch your eye?" And I go, "Yeah, I think so, but trust me, it wasn't intentional." So yeah, I'm not allowed to look at screens with this eye. I can't do any of it. And the other one's just a little puffy, but I can deal with it.
All right. Well, we should probably go then. Get you off the computer.
Yeah,
I'm good right now, but yeah, it's rough.
No, I it's crazy because I missed part of work Monday because I fucked up my eye Sunday trying to remove a contact that had fallen out at some point. So I was frantic, like, I gotta get this out. Go to the eye doctor Monday and they're like, no, it's not in there. But yeah, luckily I didn't scratch mine.
You ever had a piece of contact get stuck in your eye? Like you pull your contact out and then there's you can tell there's a corner of a piece is missing. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst feeling because you're like, it's never coming out. It's just going to be stuck in there forever.
You ever put 2 contacts in the same eye?
Yes. Done that too.
I did that one time. Yep.
You ever have normal eyes?
Only because I thought
Not me.
Yeah,
when I was 8.
Yeah.
I thought my contact had fallen out. I fell asleep with it in, and I thought it had come out, but it really was kind of behind my eye a little bit. And I just, I can't find it. I lost it. Whatever. Broke open a new set, and I put it in it, and I had 2 in the same eye.
Ugh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Could you see double better?
No, I could not see. Well, and if I were chewing Wrigley's Double Mint gum, I would see 4 times better.
That's true.
You know what we didn't do tonight?
We didn't do beer of the show. Yeah.
I mentioned that 20 minutes into the show.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't see the comment, but
sorry.
We did not do it.
Go ahead, Bill. What do you? I'm not going first. Fuck this.
Ponder's like, well, hold on.
So Perennial Artisan Ales Sump Coffee Stout Vanilla Latte. And it was okay. I love the bomber of the Sump Imperial Stout. Every can I've had has been underwhelming. So this contributes to that.
Your focus is off right now too. It just because when you put the beer up there you go. I've got a vanilla beer too. O'Fallon Brewery's vanilla wafer.
Nice.
Hector vanilla wafer.
Well, I just grabbed the only empty can I could find in my trash can down here. I don't know when I drank this, but apparently I've had a cork down here. So
Key lime coconut.
Key lime coconut cork. Good
I
stuff.
thought you were gonna pull out a Pabst Blue Ribbon.
No, maybe. I do have some in the fridge, I think. But no, I have not had any beer tonight. I just grabbed an empty can.
Are you taking antibiotics for that or anything?
No, it's steroid drops that I'm dropping in my eyes. So that's a lot of fun, let me tell you.
So you will be facing allegations in 2 weeks.
Yes, yeah. HGH for podcasts, 100%.
All right, I think we're gonna shut her down, boys.
What other option do we have?
Are we doing? Are we gonna do a little Discord tomorrow?
I should be able
during
to.
the day.
Yeah, I'm
we'll
down.
see. Yeah, we'll maybe some Discord
unfortunately I've got to take my son to a doctor's appointment at about 2, but I'll probably be on there between like 11 and 1.
Okay. Just send him in an Uber.
We'll probably play around in Discord tomorrow. So
yeah. I likely will not, as I have to adult all day. So
I hate adulting.
I may have to too, but I'll try and be there.
I don't adult yet.
Is your guest sleeping?
Keep from doing it as long as possible.
You have a guest?
She's sleeping?
We'll talk later. No.
You got a lady over?
Yeah, he does.
I just said we'll talk later, damn it.
A lady. Ooh, it's a lady.
Yes. Yeah.
What? You drug her or something? You can't talk about
what?
it?
No.
Okay, sorry. I don't know.
Who's that one player
Tied up
that
in the
did that
corner.
last year? Whoa! Chill the fuck.
Arr, matey, I know how that goes. I'm a pirate.
Just
Don't we got
her a
like
Mickey.
some? Don't we have like a closing to do or something?
Hey, Ponder. He slipped her a Mickey.
I'm about to just play the outro.
Oh, Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by Rockin' That ID Live. You can get 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlive@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Realtor Mike Burgoyne. Give Mike a call today at 314-753-4060 for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's 314-753-4060. That will wrap up episode 22 of season 13 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thank you for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We had a lot of people watching and a lot of interaction. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
we hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Bill Day, Austin Lynch, and Jeff Pondar. I'm Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, trade Hayes. Let's go Blues.
Trade somebody. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Shiver me timbers. Let's go Blues. Arr.
Ponder.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch.